Hi there, welcome to Simple Families, the Masterclass. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm Danae. If any of you don't know me, I'm the founder of Simple Families, and I'm going to be your partner for the next 8 weeks in this program. This is the first time that I've designed a program that is really an A to Z approach to simplifying your family. We're going to spend the first month talking about simplifying the home, and the second month talking about simplifying the family and parenting. I love these topics. They're near and dear to my heart, and I know that as I've moved through this process, I have seen so many changes in myself, in my family, and in my kids. Now, I know that I learn best by both looking and listening. So the way that the videos in this course are going to be designed is that there'll be a little bit of me talking and looking at you just like this, but most of them are going to be what are called voiced over PowerPoints. So that means you're going to have some words and pictures on the screen to follow along with as I'm talking. If you have questions or comments, email those to me. I'd love to answer those for you. And without further ado, let's get started with Prep Week, which is some introductory materials that I have for you to get started and start thinking about goals before we jump into the program.
Here we go. Welcome to Prep Week. I designed this week to introduce you to the things that are to come. Now, in the next 8 weeks, we're going to be covering a variety of topics, and I want to be sure that you're familiar with the format and that you know a little bit about me and my story. So let's get started. First of all, let's talk about how this program is going to work. So the Masterclass is going to be video content. So video content will be delivered to you once a week. There's a dedicated website for the content in the course. So it'll be easy to go back and to revisit it. You don't have to worry about saving it or anything like that. So each week, there'll be video content for you to view. You'll get that on Monday. You'll take that video content, which will be roughly 15 to 20 minutes a week, and you'll reflect on it. And if you choose to, participate in a small challenge or homework assignment. Now, while I promise that the content is going to be valuable and effective and easy to apply, the community is really where this program is going to shine. We have a private members-only community that's going to help drive accountability and a sense of unity. You'll realize that you're not going through this by yourself, and a lot of what you struggle with is very common among other parents. The last but not least important part of this program is collaboration. I'll be meeting with you in group coaching sessions bi-weekly. In these sessions, we're going to hash out some of the details of the content that's covered, and we'll go further into some of the questions and topics that the community is discussing. The times for these sessions are going to be altered to hopefully fit the needs of many different people in many different parts of the world. But if you can't make them live, you don't have to fear. You'll be able to submit questions in advance and after the fact, and you'll be able to rewatch all of these coaching sessions after they're filmed. So it's simple. 3 main parts to how this program is going to work. Number 1, the content that you're going to get every week. Number 2 is the community, which is going to be oh so valuable to you, and I encourage you to participate, even if it's not really your thing. And the last but not least is the collaboration, which will be the group coaching sessions. That's when I'm going to spend dedicated time with you, putting my head together with yours, working through challenges and obstacles. So many of you watching this are already registered and you're ready to get started. But if you're not already registered, go ahead and go to simplefamilies.com/masterclass. Once you get registered, you'll get an immediate confirmation email, and that's how you're going to know that you're in. If you have a problem registering, or if you have any questions, email me, Danae at simplefamilies.com. Now I want to share a little bit more about me and about my story. Now, simplicity isn't something that has ever come easy to me. I'm someone that has a busy brain and a busy body, and clutter is something that I am very familiar with. Growing up, I probably had the messiest bedroom imaginable. And not much changed as I went away to college and lived in a dorm, and my poor roommate had to suffer through it, and my husband even had to deal with it for many years before I found simplicity. After living the first 30 years of my life cluttered, both my mind and my home and my living space, I found simplicity early on in motherhood. After the birth of my firstborn, my son, I knew that I didn't want him to live like that. I knew that I didn't want him to feel the constant stress and the constant anxiety that goes along with having a cluttered mind and a cluttered home. And it wasn't just a gut feeling that was leading me towards this. My professional and educational background is rooted in child development and family wellness. So I knew from both a personal, intuitive side that this was what my family needed, but also from an educational and professional side. I've spent my whole career, many years before I even had my own kids, coaching parents and helping them to develop strategies to feel more confident and more comfortable in their own skin when it comes to parenting. My bachelor's degree and my master's degree are in clinical social work, and I specialized in child and family practice. And then after that, I went on to do a postgraduate certificate in the analysis of behavior in childhood. I worked for several years after this before I went back and I did my PhD in child development. And now I make jokes with my husband that my next stop is going to be medical school, which I'm only half joking about. Growing up, I always really wanted to be a pediatrician. I loved kids, I loved families, and I loved learning about wellness. And even though I didn't go down the medical route, what I've learned in both my professional life and in my personal life is that simplicity really does cure so much that ails us. As we move through this program, I'm going to be sharing little bits and pieces of my own story and a little bit more about my family, but I want you to stay focused on writing your own story. Don't view this program as a list of boxes to check off. Instead, view it as inspiration and an opportunity to give yourself time to reflect and to set goals. The things that I do and the things that I suggest that you do might not make any sense for you. So I always encourage participants to take it or leave it. I hope that you take away so much that is valuable in this program, but if there are things that don't fit you and don't fit the needs of your family, feel free to leave those too. If you're anything like me, you started off parenting with the best of intentions. You wanted to do it all and you wanted to be it all, and you wanted the best for your family, for your children in specific. I know that when I started out like this in these early days that I had the best of intentions and I thought that that was the right direction. The reality was that I ended up taking on far too much and I ended up feeling burnt out. Doing more and buying more and trying to be more left me feeling less. And throughout my journey, I found that there are so many things that I can let go of. And there are probably so many things that you can let go of as well. There are a lot of things that we're holding on to throughout our lives that aren't serving us. And we have to figure out what those things are and then intentionally let them go. And it's possible, trust me, even if it sounds like it's not. It might sound like an overwhelming task at this point, but we'll get there. 3 things that I want you to be thinking about as you're preparing for this program are releasing the perfect parent ideals, valuing connection over content, and weighing out your life. We'll go into each of these 3 things in just a little more depth. So when I say letting go of the perfect parent ideals, this is what I mean. So if you've ever taken a program with me before, you might have met June, our perfect mother. Now, June is someone that I know very well personally. I know that she does it all and she does it all with a smile. She bakes and she works from home and she runs her own company, spends 24/7 with her children, reads them dozens of books every day. She makes plenty of money to help support her family. Her house is always impeccably clean and her kids are always impeccably behaved. Even though she's got a lot going on, this whole stay-at-home mom who also works full-time and makes a full-time income. You'd never know it because she's always calm and cool and collected, and she always has an authentic smile on her face. She's never short on time either. She spends ample time with her husband. And when I say ample time with her husband, I don't mean sitting next to each other on the sofa on their own respective iPhones. She also takes regular getaways with her friends, and she values and fosters those friendships very impressively. She never forgets a friend's birthday. She always sends cards. Birthday cards, holiday cards, like really impressive holiday cards that always arrive before December 25th. She basically just has it all figured out. You might think that you know somebody like June. You might think that you've seen her in the carpool line at school or something like that, but you don't actually know someone like June. You might know someone who pretends to be like June and puts on a facade that they are June, but you don't know her because she doesn't exist. She is a mythical woman, and so much of what she stands for are things that we're chasing every day. I want you to check yourself and to be very sure that you are on a journey to self-improvement, not on a journey to perfection, because sometimes those two things can get crossed and they can look very similar. To experience true happiness in parenting and in family life, we have to let go of June and let go of so much of what she stands for. When we stop striving for perfection, that's where we're going to find happiness. So as we prepare to move into this 8-week program, I want you to think about June and the role that she has in your life and how much of what you're doing or what you're not doing and feeling guilty about is in some way related to her. Because I have a suspicion that some of the heaviness that you're feeling could be in part impacted by this ideal. Even if you don't think you're a perfectionist, even if you don't think that you're searching for perfection, June lives inside of all of us. In the first month of the program, we're going to be talking about simplifying the home, the physical stuff. And in the second half, we're going to be talking about simplifying parenting, more of the mental stuff. It surprised me so much at how these two things are inextricably intertwined. In today's world, so many of us struggle to be present. So I want you to start asking yourself, if you're not present, if your mind is somewhere else, where are you? Where is your mind? What exactly is distracting you? When it comes to the physical stuff, we get lost in the clutter. There's so much cleaning that needs to be done. There's so much digging to find things that are lost. The clutter can really distract us, the content of the clutter, the actual things. And when it comes to the mental stuff, we can also lose presence and get lost in the things of the past and our regrets or fears for the future. So in this program, we're going to talk a lot about connection over content, letting go of some of this content that has been living in our home and living in our minds, and as a result, finding more connection to the people around us and to our own selves. So here's your mini homework assignment for today. I want you to take a deeper look at where your heaviness lies. There are things that weigh us all down, whether it be in our home, our relationships, or in our mind, or somewhere else. If we first identify where that weight is, where we're feeling the heaviest, then we can start to let some of that go. So what part of your home feels the heaviest? Is it your cluttered closet? Is it the abundance of toys? Where in your home, what parts of your home are you feeling the most overwhelmed by? Then think about relationships. Which relationships in your life are the most exhausting to you? Is it the relationship with your kids? Is it the relationship with your spouse or partner? Is it the relationship with your coworkers? What is feeling heavy about the people in your life? And lastly, your mind. What in your own mind is weighing you down? Where does your mind spend its time? Are you spending a lot of time in the past thinking about regrets? Are you spending a lot of time in the future thinking about fears? If you had to dump your mind out, what would it look like? What would it be full of? So those are some really big questions and some really important things to reflect on as we get started. As we get started editing our homes, as we get started in editing our brains and our parenting experience. And I know that my voice has kind of sounded a little bit somber, but this is going to be fun and it's going to be life-changing. And I'm so glad that you'll be joining me. Cheers to you, and I can't wait to get to know you better.